just about to leave the police building and go about 150 yards down the road with the paras on a foot patrol. It will give us a chance to test the temperature of the town right now.
What we couldn't have known was that in half an hour, Captain Holmes would be killed on the streets of Alamara, and so would one of his squad, Private Lee Ellis. Their families have agreed we can show these pictures of their last patrol. It was a normal weekday morning for Alamara.
Seems calm enough.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we've been here 4 months, and this area especially, people have always been very welcoming. They're very friendly.
Yeah. Salam alaikum. Salam.
We were taken to the Civil Defence Building, where Captain Holmes used the Arabic he'd learned to help him talk to local people.
من فضلك محمد شوادي؟
جاسم.
جاسم.
محمد. خذهم كاظم جاسم.
شكرا جزيلا.
The captain showed me how efforts to train the local police were now resulting in the seizure of weapons which threatened British forces and the Iraqi people.
So what's this then?
Okay, well, what you have here, you have a 107 Katyusha. Essentially, these are the rockets that they've been firing at Camp Abu Najib.
So these are the rockets that have been coming over into the British camp.
It's been set up to fire towards our camp. The IPS, the police, put a cordon in. The civil defence then moved in, disarmed the weapon, and brought it back for our retrieval here.
And what's this at the end here?
At the end is an anti-tank mine. The countryside is littered with mines, which is a real problem. What people can do is they can take these away and turn them quite easily into an improvised explosive device, an IED, which they can use to then destabilise areas further.
And obviously attack coalition troops as well as create mayhem in the community.
It could be used to attack coalition troops. We've found that they haven't been directed towards us, but what is great is that we're not having to get involved here because the Iraqi people are doing it for themselves. My team out the front.
We moved back onto the street. The atmosphere seemed more tense. Captain Holmes and his unit quickly steered us to the patrol vehicles. There was no panic, just a quiet sense of urgency.
We've just walked about 150 yards through town, and clearly our military escort is worried. We're not able to stay here much longer. It's hard to get a real feel of the place. It feels okay, but obviously Amara is a pretty wild place, and the military just aren't taking any chances, so we're heading off now.
The convoy headed out of town. The paras returned to base by a different route, along a parallel street. Extra armour, in the shape of warriors, was waiting for us on the outskirts of town. Nobody wanted to remain here longer than was necessary. As we approached the base, a helicopter was heading fast for Alamara. More warriors were being scrambled, and tanks. It was clear something had happened. A roadside bomb had ripped into a British convoy as it returned to base. As soldiers went to recover the casualties, they were attacked by locals with stones and petrol bombs. Captain Richard Holmes and Private Lee Ellis had been killed after they left us. Their commanding officer spoke to me just minutes after he'd learned of their deaths.
The full details of what has happened are coming in as we speak into the operations room, not 50 yards from here. But what is sure is that this will not put us off our pace, and I will now be spending most of the next week ensuring that everybody down the town knows that.
What about the knock-on here in the camp amongst your own men? 2 casualties, as we understand, obviously a devastating blow for the unit.
It will be. It's not the first time we've been there. It may sound slightly harsh and heartless to say it, but everybody came here prepared for that. They all know how they'll deal with it. They will have to have a quiet moment to themselves. We will give them the space to do that, but they will be equally determined that this will not throw us off our pace.
So often, the British military have to accept their casualties without retaliating against the killers. There is simply too much at stake.
Captain Richard Holmes and Private Lee Ellis were sadly killed. That is a tragedy. But the fact of the matter is that will not knock us off track. Given the preponderance of weapons and given this maturing democracy and this trait that people will tend to look for a violent solution if they can't find a democratic one or if they don't get their own way, that to a degree will continue in Iraq for the foreseeable future. That does not mean that the situation is untenable.